there's any sort of job up there though.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not arguing with that. That I agree. It's a lot of job. Hey there, guys. This is Chaos here. Back to you guys with another video presentation. And so I wanted to clear up the conversation I had with the Uber driver. So what happened is I was just sharing him how I ended up in Alaska and why did I decided to come here. And the conversation got skewed to talking about coming here to how I got here to Alaska to talking about getting jobs and stuff, because you know people will tell you all kinds of jobs are hiring, all jobs are hiring. Well, not all jobs are hiring. Even though they said they are hiring, a lot of times a lot of these jobs are not really hiring. Okay, and this has become a major problem. Now, he was just telling me a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. But the thing is, and then during the conversation, I told him that the job market is garbage right now. Like, people are struggling just trying to find jobs here. And even the jobs that pay the average wage is also becoming very difficult to get into. You know, the job market is getting crazy now. And he was just, you know, like, he just know that it's true, but at the same time he was in denial about it. He just didn't want to accept. And you know, and I just told him, like, it's really difficult. So instead of, I mean, if you gave me some, you know, job opportunities or tell me, okay, that's fine, that's cool. But the thing is, I just don't think he's aware of the jobs that everybody in the world is having a hard time getting a job, and that includes the 14 million Americans that have got laid off or lost their jobs. So if you have people that are losing their jobs that are making $1,400 or more, then what does that say about people who are making less than, who are making from $16 to $20 an hour? But people in this world tend to act as if like that type of situation don't exist. And because it's Alaska, they think, oh, there are a lot of jobs that are hiring. Which I beg to differ, because I have applied for a lot of jobs here when I first moved here. I even applied for TSA back in the year of 2024 when I moved here for another job that I didn't get. Never was told why I didn't get the job. The Uber driver was like, oh, well, you should actually try to reach out. You should just, but it's like he clearly don't understand like how this works. And I couldn't even get out what I wanted to tell him, that I spoke with the manager that does the hiring about it. The manager told me that it's all up to Washington, because Washington deals with that. But it's like, how do you get it from, they didn't even give me no information to reach out to them to see why I didn't get the job. They just told me, oh, well, you know, it happens to everybody, but you can always apply again. But he was more like, well, just keep bugging him. Just keep doing this until you actually apply. And I'm just like, you know how people, you know, when it comes to the struggling job market, people like that tend to act like that don't exist. Then I told him that there's people on YouTube, there's people on TikTok, there's people that are doing videos from TikTok videos of people struggling to find jobs. His response to that was, oh, well, people could be faking it and pretending like they can't find a job. I'm like, that's not true. The job market is getting worse right now, and I've researched it. So he was in denial about that, and he just didn't accept it. He just wrote everything off as it being negative and toxic, and then tries to say that I was being negative and toxic. And I'm like, I'm not a negative and a toxic person. It's America. It's not me. It's not me at all. Because I'm not a toxic and a negative person. The only reason is because it's just the USA is toxic. People here are toxic. Everybody is just oblivious. Not everybody, but there are a number of people that act oblivious, and they act like the job market that is crashing right now, that is not doing so good right now with the hiring freezes and everything that's going on, that they don't exist. People don't do their research. They don't even know anything about the state that they live in. They just think, oh, just apply and everything will be great. Okay. But it's not. So we got into this back and forth. The part we got into this back and forth is he used, oh, you can work. Okay, so here in Alaska, they have this thing where you work at the slope. So basically, we had this back and forth with, you can work at the slope, right? That was like a last resort. Like, I haven't even finished my story of how I got here. And he just interrupted me in the middle of a sentence to tell me that there are so many jobs to hire. I'm pretty sure they do. But out of all those jobs they're claiming that they're hiring, they're not really hiring. And the people that are responsible for the job applications, they don't check up on their job applications. They sit there and they let applications pile up. They randomly go through it and they cancel out all the other applicants. I'm not the only one that's going through the job market. I'm not the only one that knows that this job market is garbage right now. That's what I told him. It's trash right now. And the fact that he had this conversation, it wasn't really helping me out a lot, considering I've already been through a lot since being here in Alaska. And then, how he starts throwing a lot of these other jobs like, oh, drive a bus or get a CDL license. I'm like, is that the only jobs y'all have? For people to drive trucks, for people to get a CDL license? Like, they always throw these types of jobs that is not really suitable for everybody. But they think, oh, if you do this and this and this, and you can get this, this and that. They are always throwing jobs on people that is not suitable for everybody. And that's what the Uber driver was doing. But then, in their minds, they're thinking, oh, well, if you're serious about finding a job, then you'll do this. Doesn't make any sense. Why work a job if you're not suitable for that job? Why work a job that you're not interested in? So, there's that. And from there, he just kind of just got put off about it, and he just like, okay, I'm just done. I'm wasting my time. I'm like, well, you're wasting my time too, because nothing I'm saying is getting through that skull of yours. I know what you're saying, but you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're just trying to force what you're saying onto me about there's hope and there's, and I'm just telling you, like, the job market is totally different now. And it's not doing so good. And then I can use that and compare that with, like, just like you have to search for job applications. It's like the same thing, like using a dating app to search up something And if you don't fit when you're linking up with the female, and if she has these criterias that she looks for, and if you don't fit or check off on any of those boxes, it's more like, they don't want to get to know you anymore, so they just avoid you. They get ghost. So he thought I was talking about the dating scene. I was like, well, I'm not strictly talking about the dating scene in its entirely. I'm using that as a reference to how it is finding jobs now. And it's getting to the point where you have to work for yourself. Now, I have 2 channels. And on my other channel, the other comment was talking about me not taking an Uber's advice. But at the same time, he told me that he doesn't even have a job. But technically, you're doing Uber. So that is a job. So why would you tell me you ain't got a job, but you're driving Uber? You're taking me to the movies. Make that make sense. So it's like, I told him about the slope situation. I told him that the slope is not easy to get into. And I have applied there many times and nobody reached out. I've called up there many times. I have spoken to people many times, have not gotten any responses. So what do I look like? Keep trying to reach out, keep trying to do this and do that. I even put in a general application. I have not heard anything back. Even called the Nana services here in Alaska. They said they were going to give my contact information to whoever they're supposed to be giving it to. I have not received anything. Now just imagine if you do that 500 times and you still don't get nothing. But people always use the slope as the last resort. And the only thing that they're going to say, oh, you can drive a truck up there. But driving trucks is it's not a job for everybody. And it's not a job for me. And I don't see myself driving a truck. Especially in a whole different place I don't even know. But more importantly, driving trucks is just not something I want to do. And so I tried to tell him, like, yeah, they do pay pretty well, and I done the research, and I told him this. Because he was trying to influence what he was trying to say onto me, but he's not really hearing what I have to say. Not that I'm giving up, but I'm just saying, like, the Uber driver was just not aware of what's going on. It's like he just took everything and just saw it as just some negative, and I don't care. I'm not going to take an advice from anyone that is oblivious and think that everything is good and okay when it's not. I don't have to take his advice, just like he didn't take my advice. When I told him based on what I've researched, people are complaining about the job market. There are TSA members that are quitting their jobs because of the government shutdown. And I told him about the oil revenue is going down, and they're trying to get the oil revenue up, which is why a lot of people are not getting more than $1,000 in dividends. I know more about Alaska than people know about the... See, the problem is people don't understand and know about the state that they live in terms of the situations that are going on. The only thing they got in their heads is, oh, you can just apply for anything. There are so many job opportunities out there. Yes, they are. But you got to know people to get into these job opportunities here in Alaska. These job opportunities is not something you can just breeze on in and they're just going to take you in. I done signed up to be a TSA security at the airport back in 2024. And it's already a year now. It's 2026. And I still have not found anything. Have not got hired yet. I applied for other jobs. I've ran into people in Alaska that told me themselves that they applied for 50 plus jobs and only one job got in touch with them. And see, the thing is, it's like he was telling me about the Alaska Career Service and how they'll help you find a job and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, you know, didn't even give me no address, didn't give me no links, didn't give me nothing. I don't take advice from people who, okay, if you're really gonna tell me about job opportunities, okay, give me some links. Show me what to research. Or, hey, let me get your number so I can text you this information. That is helping people to get or to find work. But if you're just sitting up here telling people, oh, well, there's so many job opportunities and blah, 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 you can work for the slope. Because that's every Alaskan person here in Alaska. They have this thing where, oh, you could just work at the slope. And it just, like, out of their minds, like, everybody just can't get into the slope. I tried to get up there because I did apply for a lot of applications up there since 2024. Some people can get in, some people can't get in. You have to know people to get in certain jobs. That's what I was saying. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And you have to know people. If you don't know anybody, it is difficult for you to get into these jobs. You just be forever applying, forever bugging, forever reaching out, forever calling, forever doing all of these things. Just grinding out, and it's ridiculous. But you know what? Working for the slope, in my opinion, it's not really worth it. I mean, I had to call, when I signed up for Walmart, I had to call them 8 times just to get someone on the phone about my application. Then I had to come all the way down for an interview. And some of the people at Walmart don't even know how to send a job offer correctly. Kept having technical issues. I even went to another Walmart twice in walking distance because I live here in DeBar, Alaska. And I've walked up there, gave them my information. I did all the things that people say you're supposed to do to get a job. And did not get no response, no email, no nothing. I not only just gave my number and my name, I gave also my email address. So if you can't reach me at either of those, you can just write an email. And it's just not many job opportunities up here. They got job fairs, but that's for mostly like for people getting into the military and for other jobs that I'm not really suitable for. And it's just ridiculous. So then, he got off the subject. He was just like, you're just wasting my time. I'm just out of breath. I'm just like, okay. Then he went right back into the conversation again after I let it go. Then he turned around and he was asking me about what movie I'm gonna go see, and like I said, the Uber driver, he's a pretty cool dude, but like, he has to understand and be aware that yes, there are many job opportunities, but those are the same job opportunities, even the higher payer ones, that are getting laid off. I done applied for a lot of places. I'm like, it's crazy. The job market is crazy. And I think that there are a lot of YouTube videos that talk about the crazy job market. People are applying. People who have master's degrees and bachelor's degrees that can't even get a job anywhere. So it's not a matter of taking an Uber's advice. It is a matter of the Uber doesn't understand the job market crisis that is happening right now. And all these people in Alaska, all they ever talk about is the slope. But what they forget is the fact that you have to know somebody to get into certain jobs. Not running into somebody that has worked there or whatever company, and all they can tell you is the horror stories about it, instead of trying to put you on because you actually actively looking to get into it. Because I'm gonna tell you, people don't help you find a job here in Alaska. They don't. I've asked around. I've done the research. And this is, for those of you, I'm not saying that you're gonna move up here, but I know the reason I'm doing this video because people want to know what's it like up here in Alaska. Now, it's nice up here. The wildlife is pretty nice. It's a peaceful place, to be honest, when you're not dealing with people, because people is like a whole different story. If you are a social type that likes to get to know new people, meet people from different walks of life, if you're planning on living here, just know that that's not really allowed here. You have to be a person that says a few words. If you talk too much, it's like to them you're speaking a whole different language that they don't understand. If you are too friendly, to them it's considered harassment or an offense, or you just being a straight up weirdo or creep. If you are apologizing, which I feel sorry for the Japanese people that have to, or if they ever toured here, because, you know, it's part of their culture. And if they don't like that, it's, you know, it's going to be kind of grim for them too. I think that it's like, okay, if you step on somebody's shoe, or you're not supposed to say, hey, my bad, or I apologize, I didn't mean to do that. And that's the problem with Alaskans today. So, to the Uber driving situation, he clearly just don't understand like how tough it is to find a job here. And if he was really helpful, like he just pretty much just threw a whole bunch of information, just like most people do. And most of the information, they don't bother to like, hey, let me send you the links, let me send you, you know, directions or whatever. That would have been helpful. Yes, Google will tell you everything. But people just don't help you no more. All they do is talk about a whole bunch of jobs that's hiring that are harder to get into. So, yeah, I think instead of, so it had nothing to do with taking his advice. And yes, I do have a job, but we were just having a conversation about the job market. And in his mind, he thought that I didn't have a job and I was actively looking for a job. That conversation came up when I told him about my journey here in Alaska and how I ended up here. You know, about, you know, me taking a 18-hour flight to get here for a job I didn't get and whatever. And he kind of interrupted me in the middle of a sentence, was typically what people do here in the North. They don't listen to what you have to say. They'll either walk away, or they'll overtalk you, or they'll interrupt you while you're in the middle of a sentence. So, so for the comment that saying that I don't take people's advice, I do take people's advice, but I also know the pros and cons of that advice as well. I don't just take stuff and just run with it. And that's coming from somebody that did the research, and I know what I'm talking about. Now, this is directed to the comment that I just had earlier. The fact that people don't understand how difficult the job market is, and yet, why would you take advice from a person that you're trying to make them aware of what's going on with the job market? Just like when I told him, okay, if there's so many job opportunities, why is it that a lot of people that I speak to are struggling trying to find a job these days, trying to keep up with rent? Why is it that a lot of people are renting rooms from other people's houses because they can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment? Why is it? He's like, I don't know. I don't know everybody else's problems. I'm like, okay. It's not a matter of you need to know what everybody's going through. It's just the fact that you haven't done your research. You still live in this rainbow and unicorn land where you think that every job is just simply easy to get. And you fail to realize that a lot of jobs, the job market is crashing. It's getting worse. His response to that earlier, what I said in this video, is he said, well, you just never know. People could just be pretending that they can't find a job. And I mentioned to him, okay, well, if they were pretending, then explain to me why there's senior citizens that are like in their 60s or older or out on the streets with no place to stay because they can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And the jobs are not really keeping up with the expenses that's going on. Explain that. See, people don't do their research. They just say he's just saying a whole bunch of noise, and that's all he's doing. And I just don't like it when people do stuff like that. And all he was doing was voicing his suggestions onto me instead of understanding where I'm coming from, because I don't think he understood what I was coming from. So, taking somebody's advice, I don't take people's advice that's talking a whole bunch of noise. I get where he's coming from, and I understand what he's saying. But why would I need to take advice from somebody that doesn't even understand what's going on in his own state? Doesn't understand that the job market is trash right now. Doesn't understand the fact that, okay, you have to know somebody. And it's not what you know, it's who you know. If you don't know anyone, not just anybody, but somebody who is a word of mouth, they can get you a certain type of job. And even if you do get that job, what are the odds of you getting laid off? And that's why in Alaska they're doing hiring freezes to prevent layoffs. Because they do hiring freezes. And a lot of these jobs don't really always have the money to pay people. So they're very selective of who they want to get. Most jobs are too lazy to train people. They have trained you, and then when you mess something up, all of a sudden they point fingers at you when they're responsible for training you. I told him all of that. I guess it was just too much for him to handle. And why I don't need to take advice from somebody like that. Because he wasn't really helping at all. All he was doing was just going back and forth. So, glad you guys enjoyed this video. Comment your thoughts and experiences below. I'll be back with another video real soon. Later.